Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's get right into this. Knowing when to end a series. I think that one of the unfair comparisons between manga and U.S. comics is manga. Nearly every manga series, not 100%, but nearly all of them have a single creator from start to finish, and it gives a creator the ability to kind of extend the story when the creator wants to, and suffer the consequences if the fans don't appreciate it, or work toward the ending that they originally envisioned. And occasionally, well, actually, not occasionally, the series doesn't get enough attention or enough popularity, and it ends far before the desired outcome that the creator has. But it's still that one creator, who's making those choices. And in U.S. comics and kind of in other regions, you get characters that are very popular, and then you have lots of creators on it because the comic really can never die. It can never actually end. And creators have cited this as one reason why they're kind of back against the wall because they can't really make big changes. They can't have those dramatic moments that manga can have because, their run will end and they'll come off the comic and then somebody else will come in and you can't make major changes. Like in One Piece, you can kill off Ace. But in Spider-Man, maybe you could kill off Mary Jane or Flash Thompson or somebody like that, but they're going to get brought back to life. It's going to cut the legs out from under the series, and chances are you won't be able to kill off those characters anyway. So it puts them at a disadvantage, and I don't deny that it does. However, I also think that you still could tell the best story you can and not wreck the characters in the process. I don't think it's that impossible. And it's another video for another time, but I'll throw this out there as some tease. A lot of US comics, the characters that are really popular, the Spider-Mans, Batmans, Supermans, they're actually less fleshed out in personality intentionally than a lot of their popular manga, counterparts. And in doing so, it basically makes that character more malleable for whatever writer comes onto it. If you look at Batman, you can write Batman lots of different ways. You can write him kind of cocky, you can write him sullen, you can write him as a detective, you can write him, and people do. They write him kind of all different forms and fashions. But Luffy from One Piece is written only one way. Now, granted, it's one creator, so that creator's keeping that personality intact. But if you look at the personality traits of a lot of the most popular heroes, they're very vague. The personality in general is just very, very neutral. But anyway, video for another time. Let me read this mail. It says, "Dear Perch, since it's talking about this, it says over this Thanksgiving, I took some time to finish reading Hiroshi Yatsura, which I will call Lum for the rest of the mail." Yeah, me too. I also call it Lum, as does 99% of everyone. It's just easier. I don't know. It took me about 10 days to read. Overall, I had a great time reading it, though some of the English translations were a bit too modern for me. Yeah, that's true. If you could get some of the original translations are better. But anyway, comparing it to Ranma, I think Ranma has more complex characters and average, it's true, and higher highs of greatness with classics such as Akane's Let's Be Friends Forever line to Ryoga, the whole Cupid Sisters of Love stuff, Shampoo just beating up Pink and Link every time she came to their village, amongst other fun things. Yeah, Ranma is definitely more deep, and Rumiko Takahashi agrees with you. Mm, Lum has always been a more kind of basic sitcom manga, if you will. Still fun, but just simpler. It says, but I think once Lum found its footing around the time Mindo shows up, wow, okay, it becomes consistently good for the rest of the series, while Ranma gets really hit or miss toward the last 25%. Lum knew when to end, while Ranma should honestly have either ended sooner or gone on longer. Ranma has this weird feeling that it's wrapping up in some regards since Ryoga's girlfriend gets introduced, yet it's still chugging along for a good while. I've expressed this feeling in previous emails, so I don't really want to retread it that much. By the way, there's a theory that Takahashi was pardon me, that there's a theory that Takahashi was asked to extend the series, and that's why it looked like the series was veering toward an ending, and then it kept going. And there's another theory out there that the ending was asked to be a little bit more vague than definitive. which is why I think the ending to Ranma works quite well. And I won't spoil in this video, but I like the ending. A lot of people do not because it doesn't give a final end to things, but I think it fits the characters quite well. But again, a video for another time, perhaps. It says, with Lum, arcs like Future Doors are clear signs the series is winding down, but also feels natural. Taru saving the door where he saves Lum and rejecting the ones where he gets his harem because Lum isn't there is great character stuff for him. True. I also like the mini threads on Taru's finger. That deep down, all he truly wants is Lum, while Shinobu realizes that people changing is a good thing. Side tangent, it's fascinating how Shinobu was originally positioned as a main female character in it before Lum was phased out of the antagonist role. Yeah, I agree, but Shinobu was always kind of intended to be a supporting character, I think. It just, that was very rapid. She was meant to be the kind of original kind of antagonist for Taru's mixed feelings about Lum and just general lechiness. Anyway, there's a lot of people listening to this video right now are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Anyway, back to the core mail. Lum's end stages felt natural to it, and the final arc was great. You get stuff like Tin saying goodbye to Itaru in case his memory is erased, Itaru being utterly serious about saving Lum. Such good stuff. And that ending with Itaru said, how could I ever forget you? And Lum sees that he was holding her old horns is perfect. The story feels complete at the end. Ranma really doesn't, and it's not because of not resolving all the engagements. The whole plotline of Akane becoming a better cook and got abandoned after the giant animal forest arc, and I think it's part of why the series doesn't feel complete. Once Ranma's mom moved in with him, that plotline should have come back, and Akane ultimately cooking a delicious meal for Ranma. One so good, I could swear actually they did touch on that in OVN, by the way, but anyway. One so good, he says, Akane want to teach her cooking for the rest of my life, or something along those lines. Of course, Shampoo and Yokio just happened to overhear it with comedy ensuing. Actually, now that I think about it, I think about how I would have done Ranma's final arc. Akane finally finds out the truth about Pichan. I agree, Akane should have found out about Pichan, for sure. I think it's goofy that they kind of left that undone. But anyway, the foundation of every healthy relationship is trust, and Akane finding that Ranma knew about it all along is a perfect test for them. Also have the idea pretty much everyone else in her family knew. Uttervilla Kasumi knew for a while, but Nabiki didn't. Oh, you gotta let Nabiki know. About Ryoga being Pichan, which leads Akane to run away. That's how it starts, at least. I might outline it just for fun. You should do it. Okay. Sorry for, we went deep into Ranma and Lum there, but they're fun series. Again, I think Rumiko Takahashi is a master storyteller, and I think whether you like it or you don't, and whether you kind of, put it this way. If you're listening to this at this point and you haven't already clicked away because you're like, I don't give a shit about these series, and you're like, what? But I care about U.S. comics. Let's just talk about manga. Keep in mind that a lot of these kind of storytelling beats and fans like you and me, people listening right now, speculating on how it should have ended, or man, if that moment could have gone a different way and all the rest. That's a core foundation of what it means to be a fan, to have these kinds of conversations and to be excited about what could be. And if you think about the kind of U.S. comics that have come out, and you think about the stuff we've talked about, hey, what if I remember in the shop there was a long debate about different people being disappeared basically from Thanos' snap during the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, not the movie, but the original one, the comic, and how there were some key characters. And wouldn't Thanos, with all of his kind of omnipotence, when he had that glove, wouldn't he have realized, that he should have erased some different people in order to maintain his goals? And what would it have been like if it had been a different set, and who would have stood up, and who would have risen to the challenge, try and stop him? Kind of all that stuff. It's exciting to talk about, to think about. It actually is. That's what the best part of being a comic fan and having these ongoing comics is to speculate on how these things go. So whether it's manga or whether it's a U.S. comic, the magic is in these moments, is in having these kinds of conversations. That's what is fun as a fan. That's what gets you excited. Even if you've never read Lum or Ranma, there's few of you out there like, well, you probably already start to have an opinion about it, even though you've never even read it. Another hallmark of being a comic fan. Anyway, knowing when to end a series, I think the challenge is, and I would say for U.S. comics that really can't end, there's still a lot that can be done. There's still a lot that you can have definitive, clear moments. Craven's Last Hunt taught us that. Obviously they brought back Craven back to life, and they introduced the family and all this other shit. Comics, by the way, if you ever want to kind of repair a death, it's like, well, we're going to resurrect him and reveal that there's 50 other people in their family. We're going to have the Craven family. I joke about the Green Lantern family and the Bat family and the Flash family, the Superman family, but you've got the fucking Craven family running around, the Doc Ock family. Anyway, um, but I think you can write stories with depth, with power, and instead of having it be kind of the end of a character, it doesn't have to be death. In many cases, killing off a character or having the series end with, a character dying. I don't want to say it's lazy because you could still do it, but it's one of the easiest ways to end. It's actually much harder and much more challenging as a writer if the ending that you want to provide is more an ending kind of an emotional moment. So from the person who wrote the letter, and thank you, by the way, the idea of, Akane finds out that the little, pet pig she's been having, that she's called Peach on, is actually a boy, just like Ranma, but instead of being splashed with cold water and turning into a girl, he turns into a pig. And so this pet that she's been living with is actually this boy that has a crush on her, and how creepy that is if you kind of think about it. Because she snuggles with it at night and is just weird and wrong. But anyway, having her find out that this character and all the side effects, all the people who knew and didn't tell her, all the kind of moments that she has to relive, and working through that can be an amazing arc, and it can be an ending. It doesn't have to necessarily be a series ending, because again, if you're Spider-Man or Batman, you can't do that. You can't, that comic needs to continue, but you can have some of these emotional moments end and still carry on for another 1,000 issues. It's okay to close the door on some of this stuff. If you're Batman, you've had these moments. I mean, you've had Tim Drake move on from being Robin. You've had Dick Grayson obviously move on from being Robin. It's Damian. Damian's half moved on from being Robin, but still kind of Robin when it suits the writer. There's a lot of stuff you could do. You can do a story that can take 2 years of Tim Drake kind of coming to grips with the idea that, he struck off on his own, but he's still Robin. You don't even have to give him a new identity. You can have him you could explore the idea that he's been in limbo as a character, both, for, readers and fans, and inside the context of a story. He's done things. He's had relationships. They've done different things with him, but they never really concluded that moment, that emotion. Even with the him deciding he's bisexual now or gay. I mean, I do wish, by the way, comic the most cowardly change that they made to comics, I think, in the last 5-10 years, is calling these characters bisexual, because what the writer wants to do is have the character's gay. The character is just gay. Just have the character be gay. If you want the character to be gay, just make them gay. But say, oh, is bisexual. It's like, I want to, I want to leave the door open to some plot holes that this might provide, because I know there's been future stories where, you show this character with a girl. Hey, if there's been future stories and it's the same continuity, same timeline, guess what? Can't make that character gay. Just don't. And if you made 1 or 2 characters bisexual because, for whatever reason, to try something new, but when, it's like John Kitt, bye. Tim Drake, bye. Just have him be gay. Unless you plan to have a story with him. Anyway, I don't know. I've got on that topic. I just do it. Just do it. If that's what you want to do, just do it. I don't. This in between step just seems so cowardly. It's like, well, we're gonna make him gay, but we don't want to have fans complain that there's continuity issues. So we'll say he's bi. I'm like, ah, bitch, they're gonna complain anyway. Like, you're not saving yourself from anything. All right. Anyway, I should wrap this video up. Look, I think you can. I do think there's something powerful in ending a series, and I do think it's an advantage that again, like manga has, or U.S. Creator-owned titles like The Walking Dead or Saga has. But at the same time, I think you can do a lot of the same moments and you can get a lot of the same kind of emotional powerhouse moments in a comic like Spider-Man if you just commit to, figuring out an emotional moment, dealing with it, carrying it through and ending it and having that story conclusion. That was really what was more powerful about Kraven's Last Hunt than Kraven dying. The Kraven dying thing was almost an afterthought. And, having discussed this with lots and lots of people, it was more the journey that Peter Parker was on and that Kraven was on. It was far less about the suicide at the end. And I think a lot of people miss that. Anyway, let me know what you think about endings and how to handle them. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.